Oh, a little upload here directed toward our friend Jay Distillman. You know, Jay, I defended you when Al and the others ripped another asshole in you when it came to your father's death. Oh, this was heavy duty stuff, Jay. You were at the point of fucking crying. Oh, they got you really good on that one. I thought it was wrong. I still think it was wrong what they did regarding your father's death. And the videos they put out. You know, you have a little breaking point, just like you did when you were living with Barry and you had a nervous breakdown. Everybody stop, stop, stop. I tell you, leave me alone. Stop, stop. You got a breaking point. You really do. You're all big mouth. Remember, I supported you, and they really ripped your father's death apart. They really ripped it apart. I was even feeling sorry for you. I was. So, in all-out effort to try to put some kind of material together on your show, you decide to try to rip me apart. Talk is cheap. You want to know how I walk. You want to know how agile I am. You want to know all these little questions. Photograph yourself going to the beach, walking. Well, I'll tell you, I'll do better than that. You're due to come back to the Philippines, right? Come on, come visit Vantayan Island. And why don't you see for yourself how agile I am, or how I walk, and whether I'm actually carrying a cane. That was a good one. And another thing about Jay here. Jay loves little girls. Now, you remember how Jay, and it was like on a live show back in the past, and he was actually talking about Barry. Let's remember that one. He was saying on his buddy that he had this affinity for little girls, underage girls. Now, I'm not saying that he has an affinity, Barry, for underage girls. This is what Jay said. What Jay said. Now, how would he know that unless maybe he got involved in any activity with little girls? I can almost see Jay now singing that old song. Thank heavens, with his Australian accent. Thank heavens for little girls. They grow up in a very delightful way. Come on, man. If I could see you singing that song, Jay. Jay, I suggest you take a damn good look at yourself. A damn good look at yourself. You're a fucking alcoholic. You've always been an alcoholic. And you talk about how you work it out, you're doing this and that. But you're subject to seizures. And I'm not going to judge you because you have seizures like you did when you were living with Barry. Remember that? You had a fucking seizure. And I heard that you got ripped off too of about 400 equivalent US dollars as a result of that. You remember that, Jay? Do you remember that? I do. I certainly do. You sit there in your show, and what you do, you just like drinking your liver into oblivion. But yet, the strangest thing in the world, you're talking about shit food. You're talking about shit food and preservatives. But you're sitting there with how many drinks in one show, cigarette after cigarette after cigarette, all the way down to that filter, just like you say, keep on sucking them down the way you do. You're a chain smoker, you're an alcoholic, you're a womanizer, you've always been. Everybody's heard your shows. To you, a woman is just that supermarket piece of meat. And you've said it many times, you're only good for a fuck and to wash your laundry. Jay, you're alone, not by choice. You're alone because you are not exactly the best looking man that we could find here on YouTube or anywhere. You are alone because you have a really bad attitude problem when it comes to women. And the only way you've ever gotten a woman is to pay for them. In other words, whores, Jay. You pay for whores. You pay for whores. Pay for dates. You're no different than Ricky in that way. You are an ugly, Neanderthal-looking, or actually Aborigine-looking Australian. And I'm sure your family blood goes back in the family to Aboriginal people by blood, because it shows out. You got small eyes, beady eyes. You look like a hairy fucking gorilla. You sit there puffing and sucking on your cigarettes and drinks, and you're making judgment on somebody else. Do you want to see how I walk? You want to see how I walk? How about a personal demonstration? Put yourself in front of me and call me those names that you called me on your show, but do it in person. You're due for another trip to the Philippines. I'm all up for it. I'll show you how agile I am. And I'm not going to have a cane. Talk is cheap, and you've always talked a big talk on YouTube. You've always talked a big talk on here. Because you're behind the camera. I don't think you've ever had a bona fide girlfriend. At least not that the YouTube community is familiar with. You've never had a bona fide girlfriend. Because there's no woman that would want to be with you. You're vile, you're disgusting, you're despicable. Your attitude really sucks. Your views on women suck. It's people like you that talk about women this way because you can't get a woman. Oh, sure, you could pay for them, and maybe that makes you the big man on campus. But you're not. You will continue to be alone for the rest of your life. I don't have any doubt about it. You're not exactly the pick of the litter, if you know what I mean. Your demeanor, your personality, prone to seizures. And we've all heard you cry on camera. Do you remember that? If you want to nitpick me, why did I nitpick you a little bit here? You're prone to seizures. You had one at Barry's place when you guys lived together. And then we heard you on camera crying because you were being attacked by Owl and everybody. And you broke down like a little pussy. Leave me alone. I can't take it anymore. Leave it alone. Remember that one, Jay? Oh, look, I could get down and dirty as well as you could, Jay. But the difference is I'll present facts. You want to see how well I walk? The best way to do that is just one-on-one. Come down to Bantayan. Let me show you how I walk. Because you will never meet me eye to eye. You will never do that with anybody. Because you're a pussy, and that's exactly what you are. You're a coward. You're just like your little buddy that you pretend that you're on the opposition with. But I don't believe that. You can't keep a woman if you paid for them. They may go out with you on one date, you pay them, but maybe you want them to stay a little longer. Say, no, thank you. One time is enough for me. Jay, you're not exactly the most good-looking guy in the community. You're a guy that proclaims, oh, I'm going out and I'm doing exercise and I don't eat all this shit food. But you're sitting there on camera, mate, sucking down, chain smoking them cigarettes down to the filter, one after the other, chasing it down with liquor. So you're going to come on camera and put judgment on me? Really? Think again. Why don't you look at a mirror and see what you actually see? But I think you know that already. See, losers can't stop being losers. You can talk all the shit you want on camera. That's about as far as it goes. Talk about people getting their feelings hurt. You get your feelings hurt really easily because you would come on my channel, would tell people to unblock you, so you get mad. On one hand, it depends, oh, Frank's all right. He's a right guy. Then when I don't unblock you, you start to unleash a bunch of shows, downing me and knocking me, talking about my age, talking about just about everything. That my girlfriend doesn't love me. Who the fuck are you to say that my girlfriend doesn't love me? You wouldn't know what love is anyway. You've never had the opportunity to love or be loved because, first of all, you cannot love. And with your attitude against women, especially Filipinas, you don't belong with a woman. You're better off with another guy. That would be your best mate, another guy. Women don't want you, Jay. You're not exactly a woman or a chick magnet. Oh, you had those gay old times with your buddy there, chasing women and chasing tail in the bars, in the red light districts, no matter where you went. But you had to pay for their time. You had to pay for their time. No woman would voluntarily be with you, ever, if you weren't buying them drinks and if you weren't paying a little money for their time. So how could you sit there at your velvet throne in bumfuck land, Australia, and dish out all these insults and defamation to me? How old are you now, Jay? When's the last time you had a real woman? Or a woman who could actually put up with you? I don't recall, all the years you've been on YouTube, I don't recall you ever having a real girlfriend. And losers like you make excuses all the time. All the time. You talk down about women always. Because when you've had a hard time in your life finding or keeping a woman, you get bitter. So your idea about Filipinos is that they're only good for one thing. Well, maybe that's why you can't get a Filipino girlfriend. I mean, a real girlfriend. Because your attitude sucks. You look at them as just a fuck. And that's all they're good for. And that's your attitude about Filipinos. They're all just made to be fucked. And they're good for cleaning your clothes or washing your dishes. That's why you will never get a woman. Ever. Ever. Enjoy the rest of your life. And you're not exactly in top physical shape. You're a dwarf. You're not tall at all. You're a dwarf with a big mouth, with an accent. No longer will I ever defend you on any point. But boy, they ripped you a new asshole though, didn't they? When your father died, his funeral and everything else. I remember those days. You cried like a baby on that. But you also cried on a show when you got to your breaking point. And you have a breaking point, Jay. We all remember that. When you were doing a show, it was on a live stream, and you were getting your asshole ripped, a new ass. Well, you were getting ripped another asshole is what was happening with Aloe and all them. I remember that. And what happened, Jay? Tell us what happened. You couldn't take it anymore. You started crying on camera, didn't you? Am I lying? I'm not lying. Leave me alone. You cried like a bye-bye, didn't you, Jay? You certainly did. You have no room to talk about me. I got my shit together. Have you? See, it's people like you, Jay, that you talk down on others because you can't have the life that they have. Oh, it's a common denominator on here, not just you, but that's in particular with you. You will never get a woman to be genuinely interested in you because you are a pig. You're a chauvinist pig. You demean Filipinas all the time. You talk about all this Bitcoin shit, but I bet you're broke as a skoke. A big mouth with nothing to show for it. No, you don't belong in the Philippines. You're not cut out to live here. Stay in kangaroo land where you belong. But there will never be a Filipino that would ever take a personal interest in you, that would not only find you attractive, or would put up with your attitude, your demeaning of Filipinas. We've heard you time and time again talking about women and how you treat them. And remember you were talking about your buddy? And you said, it embarrassed me so much because he had this thing for little girls. Isn't that what you said? Well, you had to be with him to know that. What was your part in all that? I'd like to know. So much information you know. But how do we know that you weren't a participant with these little girls, Jay? We know you like the young ones. You said it. You said it. You're an ugly bastard is what you are, inside and out. Call me every name in a book, it doesn't faze me. I know the life that I live, and if you want to see how I walk, why don't I show you how I walk? And do better than that. Come see me in person and see how broken down of a man I am. See it for yourself. Don't demand a video. Come over to the island and see for yourself. That's the best way to do things. You make judgment on my age. Let me tell you something. I'm probably in better physical condition than you are. I don't chain smoke cigarettes. And my liver is just fine, thank you. Is yours? You got to change your attitude, Jay. Because if anybody cannot afford to talk or knock down other people, that's you. You're a walking disaster. Void of any conscience at all. Treat women like total shit. Henceforth, you will be alone for the rest of your life. But it's losers like you to say, I don't need a woman, I don't need a girlfriend. No, it's because you can't get one. unless, sir, you pay for it. Know what I'm saying, Jay?